I do think that they look really cool on feet.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your old pal, Mr. Butter, coming back at you again. Today, I want to get into a brand new silhouette from Adidas. These caught my attention on the Confirmed app, and they were at a reasonable price, so I just figured I'd grab a pair of them. If you're into kicks and you feel like hanging out, then hit that subscribe button. Let's get into this brand new silhouette from Adidas. So I have not even taken a look at these yet. These got here a day or two before Christmas, but of course with the holidays and everything, I didn't have time to get around to it. As I mentioned, this is a brand new silhouette. I've never had these on feet. I haven't seen a lot of information regarding the sizing and that sort of thing. So I actually plan on throwing them on feet so you can see how they look. We can talk about sizing info and that sort of thing. These definitely grabbed my attention because of how affordable they were. If these would have been around the $200 price point, like some Adidas running shoes or like Ultra Boost or something, I probably would have passed and I would have waited to see what other people said about them. But these were only $130 US for retail. For the way they looked and just because they had me interested in the new tech, I thought it was worth spending $130. Comes in a standard Adidas Originals type box, nothing special. We have the 3 stripes going across the lid, and the tag reads, I don't even know how to say that. It looks like sponge with a Z, but being from West Virginia, I already sound like I talk with a mouthful of rocks, so I might just call these sponge.
Sponge.
Maybe it's supposed to be sponge, but I feel goofy saying that. So this is the Adidas Sponge. The colors are ice yellow, core black, and focus blue. They always abbreviate the colors, but I think that's what it stands for. Since I couldn't find any guidance for sizing or that sort of thing, I just went true to size, grabbed a size 10. I do have a wide foot, so hopefully this works out all right. All right, so this is my first impression of the Adidas Sponge or Sponge, whatever you want to call it, but the Adidas Sponge is what I'm going to refer to it as. Obviously, you can see where it gets its name with that cool looking midsole. I've never really seen anything like that. The shape almost reminds me of some of the newer Ultra Boost models, but again, it doesn't have that Ultra Boost kind of texture, and it's not Boost cushioning. I think this is something brand new. Right out of the box, they feel light, but they don't feel that light compared to like the Rebel V4 from New Balance or similar running style sneakers. So they're not the lightest that I've felt, and it does seem like all of the weight seems to be at the base of the shoe. I really think that most of the weight is coming from this cool sponge-like midsole, outsole area. As far as they look, I really like it, just because it's so different than everything else that I have in my collection. I'll be honest, I don't gravitate towards Adidas brand shoes that often anymore. I was heavily into Yeezys. I got a pair of 350 V2s on feet, and I kind of did that intentionally just so I could kind of compare the fit and the feel of the cushioning to that of the Yeezy 350 V2. In hand, it's kind of hard to tell what it's going to feel like. To me, in hand, it feels like it's a little bit more dense than what we have for Boost cushioning, but it does have a lot of give. Looking at it from the side, it looks like we get a really nice amount of that thick sponge-like cushioning, so I do imagine that these will be pretty comfortable, but again, they're not as light as the Rebel V4 or other similar running shoes from New Balance. I've seen 3 colorways of this silhouette released so far. The first pair was like a sample and you had to enter on the Confirmed app, and it was kind of like a giveaway and you kind of had to win that pair, but it was all just like triple blacked out. That's what got my attention on this silhouette at first, and I didn't realize that they'd be coming out with a couple general release colorways here soon after, or else I wouldn't have been as bummed whenever I struck out on that all black pair. I still think the all black pair probably looks the best, but then they also released this alongside of a blue and white pair as well. But I have so many blue and white sneakers that I just wanted something different and something unique, and that's why I went with this yellowish tealish type colorway. I think it looks pretty nice in person. I like how bold the black 3 stripes and then the black tongue, black sock liner. I like how bold that all looks up against the colors that we have on this upper and midsole. Looking at the outsole, it looks like it's like a clear rubber, and the traction just looks like it has some Adidas branding and then tray foils on that. There's not any herringbone or any like fingerprint type traction on there. It just all says Adidas and then it has tray foils on it. It does feel like it's kind of uneven, and it also feels like it's going to be pretty grippy. So we'll see how that works out, but it really just says Adidas and then has tray foils for that traction pattern. Then getting to the most interesting part of this new silhouette, looking at the midsole, you can definitely see why they call these the ZPONGE or the sponge, however you want to say it. But it does look like it's just like a natural sponge like you'd find in the ocean or whatever. It doesn't seem like there's a rhyme or reason to it. It looks like it's really porous, and I just think it's cool looking. It kind of has an organic look. The upper obviously looks like it's manufactured like it's nylon or something, but I do like the way that this midsole area looks. It's just neat. I don't have anything else that looks like that. Obviously, it's a new tech and it's a new silhouette from Adidas. It's always refreshing to get something that feels brand new. I also just noticed here on the midsole, it does say sponge, but then as we get to this yellow upper, it really just feels like a very thin nylon material. There's not much to it at all. There's really no structure in the shoe at all. I think there's paper or a shoe tree in here, but it seems like it's not really going to retain its shape once that's out. Like, you can just flatten it all the way out. But again, if you're using this as like a running shoe or an exercise shoe or something like that, then I like the fact that there's not much to the upper. From the description on the Confirmed app, it sounds like Adidas is trying to market this as sort of a hybrid between a lifestyle shoe and an exercise shoe. But looking at it, I think it definitely looks like it's more of an exercise shoe to me, especially because of the way it looks like it curves up at the front and even at the heel. It just looks to me like a running shoe. But again, back to this nylon upper, it's just very thin. We do have these overlays. It looks like it's like a synthetic leather overlay, but it's just a black color for the 3 stripes going up the side. Then we do get a little bit of Adidas branding there towards the heel. And we also get a little overlay that feels like it's black suede, and we have an Adidas tray foil there on the back of the shoe as well. The tongue is very, very thin, which again is reminiscent of other modern running shoes. And on the middle of the tongue, it's got some Adidas branding and a tray foil. These only came with black flat laces in the shoe, but I think that looks just fine. It didn't come with any spares. Around the collar, we have some black piping. And for our sock liner, it looks like it's like a black mesh material. And at first I thought it looked like there was glue on the back of the heel, but I actually think that's intentional, and I think that's a coating that they put on there probably to help the shoe stay in place, since there's no heel anchor or heel cup. It just seems like maybe they put that on there so it sort of grabs a hold of your socks and you don't have to worry about your heel slipping around as much. That's just what I'm assuming it's for. It looks like our insole is a blue color, and it's got a lot of little divots or dimples on there. And then it's got some of this yellow colored Adidas tray foils and Adidas branding down on that as well. All right, well, that was a pretty quick look at these in hand, and I think that it seems like a pretty cool pair for that $130 price point. I'm glad that they didn't have these up around $200. There for a while, Ultra Boost and all that kind of shoe was pretty expensive, and I don't think these seem deserving of that $200 price. So I think Adidas did well with getting these in right around 130 US dollars. Since this is a new silhouette and I've never had them on feet before, I'm going to go ahead and throw them on. We can talk about how they feel on feet, and you can also get a good look at them. I'll be right back. So I have these on feet, and I'm not sure how I feel about them yet. I like the way that they look. I love the style of them, but I don't think this would be a good pair of shoes if you're someone that struggles with balance. I noticed when I looked at them just in hand that they kind of curve up the way that a lot of running shoes do. And I don't really have an issue with that, but it feels like the cushioning under the heel, it feels like it just falls away from you. Like, it feels like you've got your heels up to a ledge and then there's just no support there. Like, it almost feels as though the angle of the midsole cushioning and outsole, it seems like it makes you want to go backwards. So maybe this is a running shoe for people that want to run backwards competitively or something. I'm not really sure what's going on with it, but the cushioning is most noticeable at the midfoot, and then it's like there's nothing under the heel, and if you lean forward, then you start to feel that forward momentum like you get from other modern running shoes. But I just don't think that they got these quite right yet. Like I said, I love the way that they look, and I think that the cushioning might have some potential. It's not as squishy or as bouncy as Boost. Like, you don't feel like you get that same energy return that you get from a Boost cushion. I'm not really sure what to compare these to, but it feels a lot more dense and much less bouncy. So some people don't like that real soft cushion, and if you're one of those people that think Boost has too much give, then this might be good for you. But just be warned, it feels like there is no cushioning underneath your heel. It really feels like your heels are hanging off of a cliff. And I'm not even trying to be dramatic, that's just how it feels to me. They are tight, they're snug. I went true to size, I couldn't find any sizing guidance, and they definitely are tight on my wide feet. But that being said, it's not uncomfortable. It's more of just a secure feeling fit. I probably wouldn't go up a half size even though I have wide feet. I like how snug they are, and the upper doesn't have any hard overlays or anything, so it's not like it causes any rubbing or irritation on my wide feet. I'm really kind of bummed the way the support just drops off of the heel, because I feel like after time walking in these, I just feel like your feet might be kind of uncomfortable. But I might have to wear them for an extended period of time when I'm on my feet a good bit, because maybe I would feel differently. But my first impression of them is just that my heels are hanging off a cliff, and I'm just surprised that this is the design that they went with. Like I said, I'm used to running shoes feeling like you're kind of going forward, and I think that design makes sense. But I just don't understand the lack of support underneath the heel, unless it is only supposed to be used for running, and you might have some runners that have an issue with like heel drag or like premature heel strike, like when they're coming through their stride. I could see how that would be beneficial for them, but for the average runner, it just seems like it's an unfinished outsole, midsole area, which just seems kind of odd to me. The upper almost reminds me of like a retro style runner, but then that midsole just looks really, really modern and almost futuristic. I really can't get over the fact how much they feel like you're kind of falling backwards, and I think that some people might just have to walk on their heels in these, just because it does feel like it gives you a level surface whenever you just stand on your heels. But when you're standing up straight, you don't want to be feeling like you're falling backwards. I really just think that they should have extended this surface out maybe another inch or two behind the heel, and then you might have a shoe that feels really, really comfortable. But again, maybe this is designed for a certain type of runner, but on the website it made it sound like this is designed to be a lifestyle slash
exercise or running shoe. So as a lifestyle shoe, I would feel like I was struggling to find my center of gravity all the time if I had these on. I think as far as the way that they look and a brand new design, I think they score good points for that. But really, for functionality, if you're just planning on wearing them as a lifestyle shoe, I don't think they'd be ideal for that type of use. Hit you with a little top-down POV. And even when I'm walking, they feel like you want to fall backwards. I was thinking that maybe I'd wear these as a workout shoe, but even if I'm just lifting weights, I prefer to have more of a stable base. So I just don't know that it would be good for that. All right, so hopefully that was enough to give you a good look at these on feet. I think that this design has potential. Even the cushioning, I think, might have potential. But I would change two things right off the bat with this pair of kicks. For one, I wouldn't spell it with a Z at the beginning, because how are people going to know what to call these? And for the second thing, they definitely need at least a little bit of cushioning underneath the heel. I never want to be wearing a pair of shoes that feels like I'm about to fall backwards off a cliff. And unfortunately, that's the feeling that I get with this brand new silhouette from Adidas. It might just be like those 4D shoes where they didn't really get it right the first time. And the more I say that, I guess I don't know if they really ever got those 4D shoes right. They looked really cool. But as far as functionality goes, I've never really found anybody that says, oh, that's the perfect cushion, or the 4Ds are my go-to for whenever I'm working out, you know? So I think that this might just be another instance like that, where Adidas had a cool idea. It looks kind of neat and kind of modern and even futuristic, but then whenever it gets to putting them to the surface of the ground and making use out of them, they just fall a little bit short. But anyhow, let me know what you think about these. Let me know what you think of the style. Unfortunately, at this time, I just don't think it's a pair that I'll get into the rotation very heavily at all. Like I said, I just don't like the feeling of falling backwards all the time. Maybe if you were in between getting these or not, maybe I convinced you one way or the other. They definitely look cool, but for functionality, I don't think this is a silhouette that I'll go back to. But anyhow, I appreciate you all watching tremendously. I will catch you all on the next one. I'm out.